So a question I get all the time on this channel is how do I play the piano, or how can I play the piano better? And those are both fantastic questions. I think the number one thing will always be consistency with playing the piano. It's like most things where the only way to truly get better at almost anything is just pouring time into it. And especially that applies to piano more than anything else. This is an instrument that just takes a lot of time and discipline to learn, but there are a couple of tips I can give you guys to help improve and speed up that progress a little bit. And this isn't like a get-rich-quick scheme where, I'll give you these 3 tips and you're instantly going to be amazing at piano, but these are a couple of things that really helped me fuel my progress on piano. So in this video, I'll be teaching you guys 3 things that really helped me speed up my piano progress. I really hope you guys enjoy, and let's get right into the video. So, as I mentioned in the beginning, consistency is going to be really important with all 3 of these tips. If you're not being consistent with piano, you're never going to learn. If you just go through these random growth spurts, you're just going to fall right back down until you start practicing again. So make sure you're staying consistent and going up on that upwards trend. Okay, let's get into the tips though. The very first one I'm going to be talking about is intention, and being intentional with what you're doing while you're practicing. This is super important because if we're just kind of going to the piano and just playing the same thing over and over again, we're not going to get any better. We're just going to keep on doing the exact same thing we've been doing. It's really important to be intentional on what we're doing. Today, if we're practicing speed, or if we're practicing scales, let's say we're practicing different chord changes or things like that. You always want to be intentional about what you're doing. Think of kind of a game plan before you start practicing and actually practice towards something. For me in particular, this was really big for me. A lot of the time I'd go to the piano and there's a song that I already knew how to play, so I would just sit down and just play that song over and over again, and that's not good. That's not helping me improve. Sure, I'm playing the piano, but it's not really getting me anywhere. So always make sure that we are going into it with a plan. And connected to this intention point is setting goals for yourself, and always setting new goals. Once you finish a goal, move to the next goal. Don't just sit there and wait for this goal to keep, just meandering with you. You want to move on to the next thing once you've finished one thing. For me in particular, that's usually learning a song in its entirety and then moving to another song. So I don't know, recently I've been learning a bunch of songs from La La Land and right? And I have the song pretty much down, at least in the midsections or whatever. And, it's very easy to get into the habit of just playing that section over and over again now that I know how to play it. It's fun to be able to play a section well or a piece well or things like that, it's really cool to be able to play the same thing over and over again because, it's cool because you're playing the song. But if you don't continue to work towards new goals and new ideas and new, forefronts of what we're trying to get to, you're never going to continue to get better, and your progress is going to stagnate really badly. And this applies to any skill level of piano playing, whether you're just learning your first song, or if you're playing something really complicated, right? If you don't continue to move on to the next thing, you're just gonna continue staying right at the same spot and not getting any better. And there's nothing necessarily wrong with that, but if our goal is to improve, which it always should be, we should be trying to move forward. So I think it's really important to always be both intentional and then setting new goals, okay? Very 2 important things. I don't think with almost any skill we'll ever improve unless we do these 2 things. Let's say you're a rock climber and you're trying to improve your climbing grade, You always want to be setting new goals, being intentional. Setting new goals, being intentional. These 2 things go hand in hand, and that's why I mentioned them first and second right here. And the tip number 3 is a little bit unconventional, but I think it is very important. And that's actually enjoying the skill you are trying to achieve. There are so many skills that people try to go for that it seems like they're only doing because they want the prestige of having this skill. And especially with an instrument like piano, if you don't actually enjoy playing the piano, if you don't like the action of, pressing the keys and learning a new song and the feeling of just everything in between with piano, I don't recommend trying to spend so much time learning piano. Find something you actually enjoy doing and get good at that first. There's no point trying to get good at something that you don't enjoy. There's no point of it. I fall into this trap all the time because there's things that I find impressive that I don't necessarily enjoy, but I want to get good at them because I think it'll impress other people. And that's not necessarily a good mindset to have with almost anything, And especially with piano, you're going to be spending so much time listening to the exact same thing over and over again and making the same mistakes over and over again with a song. And you need to be able to enjoy the process of going through that while failing over and over and over again. Piano, especially, is a frustrating instrument at times because there's sections where you're just like, and like you just mess up the same note every single time, and it is so frustrating. But at the same time, you know you're getting better, you know you're working towards something, and you know that you're improving. And that's all really that there is when we're talking about improvement on piano. All it is, it's very simple. Intentionality, setting new goals, enjoying the process. That's all it is. These 3 steps will get you almost anything you want, especially with piano. And I know this is a very broad overview of what it is to play piano. You know, I haven't talked about, learning scales or arpeggios or theory or anything like that. But in my mind, those like micro details are not nearly as important as those 3 big steps. Because if you follow that process of being intentional about your practice, setting new goals to learning something, and then at the very end of it, just actually enjoying the process, you will get better. Like, you will always improve. You will get better. You won't plateau ever if you're doing those 3 things. So I really wanted to make this video because, again, I get the comment all the time of, how do I play piano like you? How do I get better at piano? My hands are moving too slowly. I can't do this, can't do that. Well, if we're not continuously working towards fixing those things, you're never going to improve at it. I was never able to, when I first started playing piano, I was not very good. I've old videos of me, which I'll try to see if I can find somewhere, of me, sucking at piano. I could barely, play 2 hands at once like this. And the only way to get better is improving. At first, I was learning kind of difficult songs where I could have big arpeggios and things like that. And then past that, a little bit more intricate songs and things with different complex rhythms in it and everything like that. And throughout all of it, I made sure to really enjoy my process and my progress throughout. I took a lot of videos of me playing so I could watch over them, see what I could do better, see what I could change, everything like that. And I was very intentional about what I was playing and practicing. I was always setting new goals. And then most importantly than anything else, I do love playing this instrument. As much as it frustrates me sometimes when I'm working on a section or a piano cover and I'm just failing it over and over and over again, I do really enjoy it. I do love learning new pieces. New sections. I don't know, something like that. I enjoy it a lot. I find that it's just so satisfying to me, and it's such a nuanced instrument with so many different possibilities to it, and that's why I love it. And that helps me want to continue to be intentional with practicing and setting new goals. So just keep all of that in mind on your piano journey. Again, at times it can be really frustrating, and that is a-okay if you are frustrated. There's nothing wrong with getting upset while trying to learn the piano. All that matters is that you're continuing to follow these 3 steps throughout whatever you're trying to do. And again, this applies to a lot more than just piano. It can apply to basically any skill in my mind, and that's really my process when I'm trying to learn new things, especially instruments. I play a lot of instruments, and it's that same 3-step procedure every single time of being intentional, setting new goals, and enjoying the process. So I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. I've had a little bit of a drought of video making because I've just been working a bunch, but that is a-okay. We are locking back in. And let me know if you want to hear any piano covers or have any questions about piano. I'm always here. So hope you guys are having a phenomenal day. And yeah, I'm going to end out with this or something. Beautiful. So pretty. Have a good day, guys.